So we often get asked on the website about temple dermal filler. Now it's a complex area to treat. Not all injectors treat there, and not all injectors should treat there as well, because it's a technically hazardous area. So tell us a bit about temple dermal filler and what the approaches are and how you do it.
I think it comes down to going back to basics, working out whether someone actually needs it, and then understanding why they could possibly need it. And when we're young, I like to think of the face being an inverted triangle, with the wider part being the upper face and the middle third, whereas as we age, we become a lot more square. In fact, the top becomes narrower and the lower face becomes wider. And this happens for quite a few reasons. We all know everything goes south and sags, but also the skull bone actually gets smaller with aging. So when I look at someone, I try and work out initially what is making them look less good, and try to spend their money wisely, because although looking at you, Dr. Jonathan, you would probably do well with a bit
I could probably do well.
I'm
I'm approaching my 40s now, and I think I do a lot of running. And yeah, I've noticed that I've got some hollowing in the temples there. So,
but I'm not sure that it would be good bang for the buck.
yeah, quite.
You know, if I looked at you, if you came in, I don't think that that's where I'd ask you to spend your money.
No.
So when I get someone coming in where they really disproportionately narrow in the upper part of the face, and they in fact almost look like they've been pressed in a bit, that would be a really good indication to put some filler in the temples.
What do you think about people who have a lot of cheek filler? You know, I sometimes see people my age and above who have a lot of cheek filler. You know, often cheek, the lip and cheek filler, and sometimes it can accentuate that hollowness. What do you think about that?
I agree that if you touch one area in the face, it's going to affect and have an impact on how the adjacent areas look. And I really approach all of this by going back and taking a step back, not just looking at, gee, you're a bit hollow there, but having a look at your face overall and making sure that the whole face works together and is in harmony. So you're right, building big lips, big cheeks, and forgetting about what else is there, it looks strange. And people are then spending money to not look better, and that's not quite right. So I like to really advocate, let's not fix things, let's not change things, let's just enhance, making sure that you look better.
How many mils of filler would you treat? Well, used to treat someone's temples, for example. If you were treating mine, how much do you think you would use? And would you use it in one go? Would you do it in stages? And what are the risks of doing it as well? Is it something that anybody should have a go at trying as a cosmetic injector? What do you think is potentially a difficult area to treat?
Well, going back to the first thing you asked, how do we work out how much you need? That really, like anything, comes down to how much volume depletion there is. And for you, honestly, I wouldn't even do it.
No.
You want a little bit of concavity. You certainly don't want to look like you've got little horns about to pop out.
Imagine it was a bit deeper. So imagine it was a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Give me another 10 years.
Probably half a mil each side.
Yeah.
And certainly you could go up to 1 mil per side, depending on how much volume depletion. And then, following on with what else you asked, what technique would you use? You can either go deep down and really go right into the depths of the temporal fossa, but another technique using a much more malleable filler would be to just go into the subcutaneous tissue. And what you find is that by going deeper, you use more product. So I'll use a bit of product deep, and then a bit as the icing on the cake.
A bit more superficially.
But you can find when you do it a bit more superficially that it may be a little bit squishy. until the filler sets.
Yeah.
And I think as long as people know that and, their expectations are set up correctly, it shouldn't be a big problem. Going on to should any injector approach fillers and treat temples, I think honestly, injecting is not that tricky. But you need the skill to work out what should be done and what shouldn't be done. And also, if on the unlikely off chance something were going to go wrong, you need to make sure that whoever is touching you and injecting you really knows what to do.
Yeah.
So I think assessing an injector, they need to be assessed by their experience, their what exposure they've had to complication management. And we're really fortunate in this industry that things don't go wrong very often. But you don't want to be the 0.1% where if it's your unlucky day, that whoever you have injecting you doesn't know what to do next. So, I think, at City Skin, we're really good at making sure that all of our injectors only do within their scope and don't take on things they're not comfortable with.
That's right. I think I sometimes think of it as like flying a plane. I could go on an A380, go to the front, press the autopilot button, and fly across the Atlantic potentially without turbulence. But if there was a problem that happened, I would be absolutely stuffed. So I think like injecting, you can put it anywhere really, but it's knowing where to not put it, and also the potential pitfalls of what you're doing, and when it comes off autopilot, what to then do. So,
yeah, definitely. I mean, the temple hollowing, there are quite a few important structures there.
Yeah.
You have nerves, arteries, veins. It's not just a case of putting a needle in.
Yeah.
And, I'm very respectful when I inject anyone doing any procedure that I am treating somebody's face.
Yeah.
And that's a really important part of their whole being.
Yeah.
So, we need to be careful and treat it in the manner that it deserves to be treated. It's not hair dye. It's not makeup. It's a medical procedure.